I want you to introduce yourself. Back up just a little bit, sir. Introduce yourself for everybody that might not know you. Tell them who you are.
Right.
And this is very important. I wanted to have this brother on for a while because you've seen his work just driving down the street. You've seen his work driving down the street. You've seen his work at the gas station. You've seen his work at the electric charging station. You've seen it all over the place. All right, so what's happening, bro? Talk to me.
How are
There
you?
you go. You're good. You're good now. You're good. Tell everybody your name. Let everybody know who you are, bro.
Patterson. I am the CEO of Tryon Supercars.
Okay. Now, but so first of all, the CEO of Tryon Supercars. What is Tryon Supercars about, bro? Tell us.
Tryon Supercars is basically a supercar company that's going to be building high-end luxury vehicles. We will rival anything out there in the market, including.
Hold on, we can't hear you. We can't hear you. We can't hear you.
Hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you now. Now I can hear you.
All right.
Okay, so good.
So
explain, tell us what the company's about.
The company's about rivaling anything out there on the supercar market that you see, European, American, of the like, whether it be electric or anything with the internal combustion motor.
Now, and what you're known for is being the first African American to own an exotic car manufacturer in the United States. Manufacture is different than selling cars.
Correct.
And so let's start with this. Tell everybody your history, because you did something that, in terms of just automobile transport, is one of the biggest things in the world. What were you involved in?
Well, my history has been in the automotive industry. Of course, I started at age 15 in Detroit, Michigan. When I got through, doing my architectural thing, I thought I was going to be an architect. But my teacher said, you know what? You look more like a mechanical engineer. So I switched subjects in mid-year at school and started doing mechanical. Of course, cars were always my first love. So, whether it be a hot rod or anything, cars were everything. So this was my chance to actually get into what I really love. And of course, I was 15 when GM called, and I was invited to work there at General Motors Tech Center in Warren, Michigan.
Let's stop. Listen, hold on 1 second. 15 years old.
Correct.
You were working for General Motors. How was that possible?
Well, before I got there, I had a few drafting contests throughout Michigan, where the kids from all over Michigan competed to do certain drawings and different types of things. And I would get like a second place, a first place, a third place. So my name would come up, and my teacher basically said, "Look, brother, I'm going to submit you into General Motors, and you do the rest. I'm going to groom you up. This is how you dress. This is how you look. This is how you talk." So I put together my best drawings. I walked into General Motors on an interview, and they liked what they saw and heard. And next thing you know, I was hired at General Motors. And yes, I was 15 when I came into the tech center.
Now, being hired at 15, General Motors.
Yes, sir.
You're doing what? What are you doing exactly?
Actually, my first job was changing drawings, right? So I go in, change some letterings, cut a section through a particular area of a part, and throw that section out, label it, and then update the drawing. And then, of course, take it back and check it back in. Now, of course, being, one of the younger guys there, and there was a couple of us that were there, but they would always screw with my drawing, erase things, try to get me in trouble so that I looked bad. So I always had to go over my drawing. My desk was about 20 feet long. So, just imagine having a drawing that long that you were pretty much in charge of, and you got to overlook it and make sure everything's good. And after you do the change, you know, you turn it in, a checker checks it, and then it's put into the system.
Right.
So that's what I started off doing. I was basically a detailer, as they call it.
Now, you're 15, but what
Yes,
kind
sir.
of salary do they give a 15-year-old?
Well, back when I started was $4 an hour.
Right, but what would that be in today's world? Was that like a salary of a grown man?
No, no. I was definitely entry level. You take this and be happy. But for entry level now, a young engineer or a young detailer coming into business, you're going to be somewhere around 22 bucks an hour.
So let's just say for all intents and purposes, you are a 15-year-old man making $22 an hour. How do your parents look at that, and how do those people in the building look at that?
Well, the people in the building, there was only a few that were really happy that I was there. My parents were elated, of course, but you know, not too many. It was a, let's just say, an older white man's world when I
Right,
walked in there. So you got to look pretty hard to see somebody like me when I was in first starting off in General Motors.
right. And now you're in there, and you have not only do you have haters, not only do you have haters within the company, and these are older people that you're dealing with,
Yes.
35, 40, 45. How are you taking that on as a 15-year-old?
Of course, at first I was a little overwhelmed because my first job ever in life was a paper boy, and I went from a paper boy to working at General Motors. So I never worked
Right.
anywhere else but you know, except you know, being a paper boy. And General Motors was my first real paycheck. You know,
Mm,
so me going into a corporate world out of a neighborhood where it's predominantly black, where I see myself, into a corporate world that's predominantly white. You know, that was you know, a shocker for sure. Now, as I progressed through General Motors, I realized that in order for me to kind of make my own statement, I had to do a little extra. And you know, that's been our thing for years, where we have to shine. So
hmm
I didn't just do the job. You know, I actually went and did other people's jobs, and you know, cleaned the straight edges and the triangles, and sharpened the pencils, and built other parts from 2D drawings into 3D parts. So
hmm
that made me shine from everybody else, and then I was able to move into CAD and move into cardboard modeling and things like that, which enhanced my skills and allowed me to shine a little bit more.
Wow. Okay, so how long are you at General Motors before you make the next step?
I was at General Motors for approximately 5 years, and then I made the next step into a tier one company called Modern Engineering, and they were basically contracted from General Motors to do General Motors projects. So I moved
hmm
into that because I was able to expand on my CAD skills, and of course my salary went up exponentially from $4, and
Right.
I got a lot of nicer projects on my table. Besides, you know, cutting a section, moving a view, or changing some lettering on the drawing, you know, that kind of stuff. Now I'm actually making and building parts
Right.
in CAD with
Now,
my
how old are
name on.
you? How old are you at this time?
So at that time, I'm right around 18, 20 years old when I went to Modern Engineering.
Wow. So you started really early in the game, and you're knocking it down. We
Yes,
know
sir.
you as the guy from designing the Tesla, the Model S.
Yes.
How does that come about? Because
Okay.
that's a major accomplishment. I mean, like Elon Musk in terms of technology is looked at as a god, and for him to put you in the middle of that is a huge thing. Like when he says this, things happen. He's a needle mover. He's a button pusher.
Yes, he
So
is.
for him to, first of all, how did you get in Tesla? That's number one.
Yeah.
Number two? How did you come to his eyesight, his attention?
Okay, so throughout now that I'm putting down my roots in the automotive industry, I'm making some waves, right? People are noticing me. You know, I worked on the Corvette program. I worked on the Viper program. You know, and I'm getting into a lot sexier programs, you know, instead of doing the minivan and all that kind of stuff. But what happened was I was with a company called Fisker Automotive, and my job there was to basically package that vehicle. So now you're looking at a vehicle that was a hybrid vehicle. Number one, it had a gasoline motor and 2 electric motors, a battery, and a gas tank. So it was very heavy, and it was technologically challenging to do it. But I had to basically put 4 human beings in there and make the car legal.
Right, right.
Okay, so as we were moving along, you know, we would move along, we would run out of money here and there, and then, you know, the talk of Tesla and what they were doing was being talked about, of course. And I figured one of the times that the auto show was in Detroit, I went to the auto show. I said, let me check out this Tesla. And I went down there, and I'm walking around the display where the Tesla was. There was a gentleman there, and I'm asking him, why were things in certain positions? Like, why are the mirrors here? Why are the lights? And he's like, well, you know, that's where we put them. I'm like, well, that's wrong. And he said to
Wow.
me,
So you corrected them.
oh, yeah, I corrected him. And he basically called back to California, put the one of the heads of engineering on, and they kind of interviewed me right there over the phone, you know. And I told them, hey, look, I'm not going to give you free information on why your stuff is in the wrong position. If you want me, hire me. So, of course, we talked about the price.
Just like that. Just like the cold call at a car show, yo, the light's not right here, and call them right away.
Yep. That was a Friday evening. And by the time I was home, I was hired by Tesla. I was working at Tesla Monday morning.
Wow.
My first job when I came into Tesla, which was inside of SpaceX in Hawthorne, California, was to find out why this car was set up wrong. So
do you know who had set up the car before you?
Well, you had numerous engineers there who knew what they were doing, like the mirror guy, like the seating guy, like the, you know, different guys, but they just know what they do, the areas of what they do. Now, to make things legal, make things certifiable, you know, that takes somebody with a certain knowledge. And there's not many people who can do that. And I was one of those guys. So I said, I'm going to go in here, pull up the entire cab model of the car, and look at why things were put in certain areas and see how I can fix it and make it better. And as I was doing this, I was just running into all kind of, you know, if I change this, I got to change that. If I change this over here, and so I just said, you know, I'm going to take it down to the screws and start over. And so in doing that, it changed where the belt line is. It changed where the mirror. It changed the roof line. It changed where the A-pillars were. And all of this caused for a design change in the car because now it's going to be done right. So now with this, me doing that, I was able to package the car the way that I always wanted to package a car. I never had the opportunity. So I got to put the pedals where they are. I got to put the steering wheel where it is. I got to put the gauges where they are. And then, you know, the rest is history. The car actually won Car of the Year right out of the gate. You know, you talk about a car from scratch that had never existed on the planet Earth before. Come out the gate and win everything. Beat out Cadillac, beat out Mercedes, beat out Audi, everybody, and became the Car of the Year and best in class and everything. So in doing that, of course, you know, the guy at the top gets to hold the trophy. But
right.
You know.
So here's my question.
Yes, sir.
When you got that interview, when you made that phone call, or when the guy made the phone call back to the Tesla headquarters, who was on the phone? Was that Elon Musk, or that was one of his representatives?
It was at the time. It was one of the heads of engineering, and he's over at another company right now, a competition. But that's who it was. Now, during my course there at Tesla, every week we would have design reviews with Elon Musk. So he would come over, and a lot of times all the data would be pulled up on my screen, and he would sit down next to me, and we would talk about, you know, what's going on in the design world as far as Tesla. And during that time, you know, we kind of talked about rap music, you know, different songs. Oh yeah, I had my
Yeah, but hold on. Elon Musk, he's into that. Like
oh
he
yeah,
getting on the rap side.
oh yeah, most definitely. I had my iTunes connected to the company's network, and everybody would tune in and go through my hard drive and, you know, just listen to music. And he was one of them. So I would send him stuff, you know, he'd listen to Tribe Called Quest, he'd listen to, you know, Slum Village and other groups that I would kind of recommend. But, you know, that was how we kind of hit it off.
Wow, he wasn't listening to the ignorant stuff like the Migos and stuff the music that scares white people. He wasn't listening to that. You were playing like real hip hop, boom bap,
Yes.
80s, 90s, stuff like that.
Oh yeah, I was Big Daddy Kane, EPMD, Eric B. and Rakim. That's the stuff he was interested in. And of course, my man Busta Rhymes. You know, that was, you know, what I would recommend that he listen to. And he'd go, okay, you know, I'll check it out. And we talk about it the next week, along with what's going on in the design of the vehicle.
So now you're doing this on a constant basis. The car wins car of the year.
Yes.
What does he say to you? What does he say to you?
Okay, so during that time, I had left Tesla because I was getting into it with that guy that I was talking to from Detroit. He and I kind of worked hand in hand, and of course, he didn't like the fact that I was coming in making all these changes. I had Elon asking me questions. I had a lot of the engineering team relying on me to help them set up what they need to set up. So we got into it. And then I told Elon, hey, if I got an answer to this guy, then I'm gonna be out of here. And either I'm gonna be above him, he gonna be put in another group, I'm gonna be put in another group, or I'm gonna leave. So he said, man, I can't do that. And I said, okay, so I left. And then all while I was gone, they kept calling me to come back. And finally I get the call that the guy who I was getting into with was no longer there. So we settled on the salary, and I came back, and this was to set the vehicle back up because the guy who took my position when I left the first time screwed it up. So now I had to fix it because it was going into production now, and things weren't lining up on the assembly line. So I hurried up and came over, did that work. And the last time I spoke to Elon, I was actually sitting in a break room. He came in there, and he's getting his little coffee or whatever, and sat down next to me and asked me, why did I come back? And you know, with Elon, it ain't never you know, just a regular conversation, because you don't know if he coming with some kind of sneaky, you know, question to trip you up. So I just said, hey man, I came back because this is the place to be. It's cutting edge. And then he goes, yeah man, so really, why did you come back? I said, look,
but he don't want to hear the generic answer.
Yeah, but you know, and I was trying to be political about it, and not, you know, just say, hey man, the guy you had here sucked. That's why I left. I came back because he gone, and you know, all of that. But he said, he stopped me. He was getting up to go back to his desk, and he said, listen, if I were you, I wouldn't be working for me. And he walked away. And as I sat there and thought about it, I'm thinking, oh, I know why he said that. Because if he were me, if he knew what I knew, setting up vehicles, being able to come up with innovative things, and I was Elon Musk, he wouldn't be working for nobody but himself. And that's when I quit the company.
Right there on the spot, or like a couple weeks later?
A couple days later.
So why did you take that leap of faith? Because it's one thing to get a check and be safe. But what made you jump out on your own and take that risk? Because nobody, even though you have the knowledge, we don't know if you're going to make it. So what made you take that risk and that jump to do that?
Generational wealth doesn't happen working for somebody else. Your ideas don't stay your ideas when you answer and report to somebody else. You don't get to be your own man when you reporting and working for somebody else. So all of those things were factored in. And the fact that I've been at General Motors and I came up with revolutionary and innovative things, same as when I was with Chrysler, same as when I was with Fisker and Tesla, you know, those are things that I accepted just to get that paycheck. Now look at what Tesla's doing now with all the self-presenting door handles, the big giant screen inside, how it's best in comfort, best in class. That's what I provided to them. Now that should be said about my car. That should be said. All these innovative things and smart things that you see in these other vehicles should be being said about my vehicle. So in order for it to be said, I have to lead. It's going to always be Elon. I'm not going to supersede Elon at Tesla. I'm not going to supersede, my boss over at Fisker. It's always going to be those guys. So in order for me to be my own man and create and do the things that I want to do, I have to do my own thing.
Okay, so with that being said, now you go out and do your thing. So a couple of different things. Number one, you made your headquarters and everything out in Vegas, right?
Correct.
What made you choose Vegas?
Well, number one, I spending my time on the West Coast. I'm from Detroit, and Detroit at the time, as far as the automotive climate, was more compartmentalized. Meaning, when you went to work, this is where you sat, this is what you did. You do this, you get done at the end of the day. You go get in your car and drive home. They don't want to hear anything else. This is the way you dress and the way you look. Got out to California, and these people coming into work with cut off jeans and flip flops, and it was just a different mentality. But yet, I feel that it fostered creativity. Now, the one thing I did learn when I was out there was California is very expensive, and a lot of
yes, definitely.
Yes. So when you look at a person who's coming from, the engineering background that I have and working where I've worked, I think a mixture of that would be great. Some of the discipline in Detroit, as well as some of the freedom on the West Coast. So I thought Vegas offered that. Up and coming, a lot of new neighborhoods here, new schools, new shopping. It's just an exciting place to be, and I want this company to be exciting. I don't want it to be status quo. I do like the Apples and all that, and the Googles, as far as how they treat their employees and how employees like to be treated, and that's one of the things that I want to do here at Tryon Supercars.
Right now, let's move on. So the car is the Nemesis, right? So my question to you is this: first of all, what makes it different than any other car out here? Because of course you were behind the Tesla, you were at General Motors, you've been behind a couple of cars in your life. What makes this car different from everything else?
Well, first of all, I wanted to create a vehicle that was timeless as far as design wise. I always had, something on my wall from TV show, something, sexy, weird, outrageous as far as the design. I wanted this to be that. Now, the only way I can do something like that and really bring out something that could compete and not have the amount of competition that I need to cut through in order to get that end customer was to be where I'm at with the Nemesis. Very, very high-end, super luxury vehicle offering very high-end performance numbers, luxury, performance, and of course the design.
It looked crazy. It looks crazy. Like it looked crazy. How fast does this go? Because I heard 2,000 horsepower and all that. I want you to basically break it down for us and tell us exactly what goes on with this car, man. Because it looked crazy and it goes fast as hell. So tell us about it.
I wanted it to be the tops in everything: speed, performance, everything, durability. A lot of the ultra exotic cars are not durable. They can't fit a larger human in there, even at my size. I'm like right around 5'9", I get into, those other exotics, you still feel cramped. You can't move the seat. I designed this car for a 6'4" individual to fit in very nicely. So I wasn't really concerned about the weight because I had the power to compensate for that. The end goal was something fast, something that nothing else can compare to or compete with. So it will be the fastest production car ever produced. 0 to 60, top speed, everything. And it has a lot of things happening with the body panels. Active aero, there's a lot of things moving on the active aero. So not only the rear wing, not only the front splitter, the rear diffuser, the side rocker panels, there's a lot of things happening with the lights that change, door panels. There's actually a drone that's deployed out of the vehicle. There's a lot of stuff.
Wait, hold on, sir. Now, hold on, sir. Walk me through the drone being deployed and what that's for.
That's basically for road conditions, traffic hazards, actually monitoring you. It can actually record you driving. It can actually follow the vehicle and actually monitor, if there's something, an object in the way or something that could hit you. It will basically calculate that. And then when you put the car in autonomous driving mode, it actually helps you to feel safe that your car is going where you want it to go. So that drone is there for that. There's other things that it will do, but we'll keep that until we actually present it.
Well, listen, I'm definitely coming down because I know everybody. A couple of people have come down there and checked this out already.
Yes.
Who's been down to the company? Who's been down to the warehouse?
Let's see. Mr. Master P, he did show up with Romeo. They were, I don't know if you've seen the piece, but they were kind of amazed at what they saw and immediately, jumped my way as far as, hey man, we need to, to talk a bit more about what this is and how it will affect not only the Black community, but just America in general. You got an inner city kid right here that came out of Detroit City, the Detroit public school system. That's the hat I'm wearing at Mumford. Probably see Eddie Murphy with the shirt on. But that is where I came from. And then you talk about something like this that we're putting on here in a field of ultra exotic cars that have pedigree, that have been around. And first out the gate, I'm going to challenge them. That's who I'm going for. I don't want
you going to fight the biggest bully. You fighting the bully on the block.
Correct.
What have you determined the price for this year?
Yes, the price point is up there. It's going to start off right around $1 million, but it can go as high as 4 or 5 because of what you have technology-wise. Carbon titanium, carbon fiber, Kevlar, all these exotic materials that this car will be made up of, the speed, the performance. And then, of course, in the interior, it's set up like a spaceship. And again, it will be nothing that you've ever seen before. When you get in, it will react and act like nothing you've ever seen before. And then, of course, the other element with the drone, nothing you've ever seen before, is coming out of a vehicle.
Final question, and I'm going to come out there when I hit the West Coast, maybe in about a month and a half.
Yes, sir.
Bugatti.
Yes.
Lamborghini. What's the other word? A Porsche.
Yes.
What are these guys in their offices saying about you and about this?
Well, number one, all those companies that you mentioned are owned by the VW Group. So they're all German companies, or it's all owned by a German company. The Bugatti is a French company. But when you talk about them and me, I've been offered to go to these places and a lot other places to work for them. And I always feel that it's to basically silence me, to put me back in the box that I was in it at the other places. And, kudos to them for being as successful as they are. But it's time for something else. It's time for something new. I'm the new guy, even though I've been in the business for over 35 years. And I have my work speaks for itself that's driving around right now. So it's time for something else. And people who buy those types of vehicles want something else. They want something else, especially from America. And then you got this little black boy from Detroit, you know, giving them what they want. And
what they want.
yes, exactly. So that's why I'm in the game. That's why I'm doing it. There's a lot of other innovation technology that I have coming on the electric front, batteries and things of that nature.
Tell us
Not just
about the
on the
battery.
car.
Tell us about the battery really quick. And I want to say something before we get into the battery. In the music industry, if an artist is good and they think that he could be a transformative force, sometimes the A&R, if they have a group that could be that person could be the competitor to, they sign him
Yeah.
and they put him on the show. So it's the same. It's the same. It's the same. The same process. The same game. It's just cars and records. Same thing. So about the battery,
Exactly.
tell us about the battery.
So we're without telling too much, we're dealing with a new source of energy, and it's going to be uh, encompassing a lot of things with recyclability. So we're going to be taking a lot of old tires, uh, water bottles, things that people discard, and this is what this technology will be based off of.
Bro, this sounds like something. This sounds like alien stuff, sir. It sounds like so. I can't believe they let you go, but so you figured out a way to take those materials and make it something that makes a car have 2,000 horsepower.
Yeah, well, that technology that I'm talking about will be in the SUV coming. The technology that we talked about earlier will be in the Nemesis, and the Nemesis is far ahead of anything out there right now anyway. So now when we talk about these other materials in the next gen vehicle, it's really going to put us in a place that none of them are even at right now. They get up and talk all this high and mighty, but again, you talk about a person like Elon Musk. He never built a battery before until he got the proper guys over there at Tesla. He never built a car before until I showed up and helped make him the richest man in the world. So again, you know he's the guy. He's the thinker, and then he gets the people together to help him move
Henry
forward.
Ford. Henry Ford.
And yeah, no problem. But for me, it's time for me to get out there and flex a little bit and show what I can do. Because again, I've always been the guy behind and making those things happen. So let me see what I can do by myself.
Let me tell you something, and I'm going to leave you on this note. When you get to this price point of $1 million, you're no longer dealing with the general public. You're dealing with the elite. And when you deal with the elite, it's no longer about color. It's about money. It's about, and at that level, it's about either a couple of different things: money, skill, performance. They don't care who they get it from. Money, skill, performance, and you have that right here with this car. I am looking forward to coming, and I'm probably not going to be able to get in the car, but I at least I'll see somebody drive it. Final question.
You will.
Okay, but
You'll be able to get in there. Trust me.
Hold on, this is my final question. That's why I want to ask. Is this stick shift or is this, because I don't know how to drive stick, is this stick or is this regular automatic?
Okay, so it's this dual clutch. So basically you can go from a manual, which is paddle shifted, there won't be a stick shift. So it'll be paddle shift, or to automatic. And you can do this at any speeds. You could be at 200 miles an hour and switch over into manual. It'll put you in the right gear, and you can go from there. You can be in automatic at 100 miles an hour and switch it over into manual. So with the technology we have here, it's going to be smooth, and you'll be able to switch from manual to automatic with the touch of a button.
So this is gonna get me from Vegas to LA in about an hour and a half.
Oh yeah, no question, no problem. No
I love
question.
that drive. Vegas to LA
I love
is
it
one
too.
of the most beautiful drives on this earth, bro. So I might not drive it that far, but I can only imagine what that is, man. Listen, I'm gonna
you
get
do
in
it
touch
with
with
me.
you. Huh?
You do it with me.
All right. That's a bet, bro. I'm gonna hold you to that.
No,
I'm gonna
no
get
problem.
in touch with you later on. Because there's a lot to talk about. I'm interested in a couple of things, not as heavy as Master P, but I'm definitely interested in a lot of things about this vehicle. Bro, I want to thank you for coming through. And by the way, before you leave, tell everybody about the company, where they can go look at the website, everything, so people can know about this. This is a game changer.
That's correct. www.trionsupercars.com. We'll be everywhere in the coming months, and in those coming months, we will actually have the actual vehicle available, and you'll be seeing a lot of it. And trust me, it's going to have a lot of innovation, a lot of things that you just don't see on the vehicle or in a vehicle, and it's going to be all over as far as the hype around it because of these technological firsts in the vehicle.
Man, you know you're going to have a lot of haters. You know
Yes.
you're going to have a lot of angry people. So just go and get ready for that. Enjoy that. And we'll talk later, brother. I'll be talking to you by the end of the week. God bless.
You got it, Scoop. Thank you.
God bless, man. Love you, man. Love you very much. That's Tryon Supercars Group right there. Fat Man Scoop. Visit fatmanscoop.com to buy merch. Go to Fat Man Scoop on Instagram TV or YouTube to see the full interview.